84. Hold that number because I'm going to hand it back to you 5 or 6 times before we are done. 84 is the percentage of points Alex Eala won behind her first serve in the final that gave her a title no player from her country had ever won, and it is the single number that the entire conversation around Cincinnati has managed to walk straight past. Because the conversation is about noise, flags, chanting, interruption before she has struck a ball, and buried inside that noise, there is a detail I do not think you have heard. I don't think there's another tournament that had one food just for one player and they did it the last minute when she went into the draw. It's remarkable and it's so great for tennis from a macro perspective. When you look at the impact she's made in the Philippines, absolutely unquantifiable, the history she's making. But to bring that many fans from that part of the world, which hasn't seen a superstar specifically from that country, but even in Asia, we've had Kei Nishikori as of late, we've had Li Na, we've had Queen Wen. To have another one and keep growing it there. It's such a big part of the world. A food stall built at the last minute, not for a country, not for a region, not for a sponsor, for one player because she entered the draw. I want you to sit with what that actually means because a tournament does not build infrastructure for an atmosphere. It builds infrastructure for a crowd it has already counted. So here's where I land, and I want to be honest that I have gone back and forth on this all week. Everybody is telling you that the crowd is her superpower and the serve is her weakness. My read is that both of those are backwards. The noise is a load she has to carry, not a lift that carries her. And the only reason I think she can carry it into Ohio is 84. So here's what I'm going to show you, ranked honestly, because 2 of these you will hear elsewhere and 1 of them you will not. First, the first round bye. Everybody is treating it as a gift, and I will show you what it costs her because it is not nothing. Second, and this is the one nobody has said out loud, crowd is the heaviest object in her luggage, and Cincinnati is the first venue where she has to carry it without the head start Toronto handed her. Third, the detail I think quietly decides this tournament, and it is the shot the entire sport has already written off. I will show you exactly what I mean, but not yet, and before any of it, the honest case against me, because I am not going to sell you a clean story and bury the mess at the bottom. Her second round opponent comes out of Magda Ikuzit. Lynette against Elena Gabriela Russ, and both of those women have spent years on this tour dismantling players who were supposed to walk through them. That is real. So is this. I know there's a big, wondering why she's playing in Tinsy because of that ankle issue that she seemed to be having at the end of her run in Canada. We'll see whether or not she does make it to her first match, which is a second round. She gets by in the first round. So yeah, and a bunch of other players as well that coming in with a little bit of injury worry, but let's see what happens. Notice what is being asked there, not whether she can win, whether she can start. That is the question hovering over the 17 seed at one of the biggest events on the calendar, and it did not come from a cynic on the internet. It came from the broadcast. So let me rebuild what actually happened, because the version you have been given is a highlight reel, and the truth is sitting in the order of events. Toronto, third round. Friday night, and the match runs past 2.5 hours. She takes the first set 6-3. Comfortable. Then, somewhere in the second, the ankle goes. No retirement, no stretcher, just the small, ugly moment that quietly she writes what a player is permitted to do for the rest of the night. She loses that second set, 7-5. And then she wins the third, 6-4. Hold the order of those 3 sets in your head because it becomes the whole argument later. Here is somebody who was actually there. 2 in the morning and I'm just getting back to my hotel in Toronto and it's all because of Alex Eala. But it was worth it because what a match she played Friday night. Eala almost quite literally gave her blood, sweat and tears to earn a 6-3, 5-77-6-4 win over Katie McNally in over 2.5 hours. I know it was only a third round match, but this was without a doubt one of Alex's most memorable victories yet. Not only did she tweak her ankle during the second set, but Katie pushed her to the absolute limit. Did you know that Alex Eala will receive a first-round bye in Cincinnati Open? What it does mean? Being seeded means a player is given a designated rank in a tournament draw based on her official world ranking. Typically, the top 25% of players in a tournament field are. That is the technical answer. It is correct, and it is the least interesting answer available. A bye is a free round. A bye is also a cold start. She does not get a low-stakes opener against a qualifier to find her range, her timing, and the way the ball is behaving in Ohio in the middle of August. She walks straight into the second round of an event that runs from the 8th to the 23rd against a woman who has already played a match on that court and already knows the answers. Skipping the warm-up lap sounds like an advantage right up until you make the first corner cold. This is the part one need you to sit with because it is the foundation under everything else here. Before Toronto, before any of this, there was a fortnight that permanently changed what her name means. She won her first tour-level singles title. The first player from the Philippines ever to do it. Not a qualifying miracle, not a soft draw that opened up. And I want to be specific about how, because the how is the entire case. I don't want to see any more people downplaying Alex Eala's success or calling her overhype because she more than proved herself this past week in DC. Beating the number 1, 2, and 3 seeds all in a row, plus knocking out the defending champion and the reigning Olympic gold medalist to win your first WTA Tour singles title at 500. Read that list again, one name at a time. The 1 seed, the 2 seed, the 3 seed, the defending champion, the reigning Olympic gold medalist, 5 elite players, 1 week. There is no version of that which is luck. Luck buys you one of those 5. Systems buy you all in the final against the top seed Jessica Pegula. She lost the opening set, and I'm going to keep auditing this run all the way through the US Open draw, so if you want the audit and not the highlight package, subscribe now. She lost the opening set 4-6, took the second 6-4 and won the third 6-love. 6-love. A 21-year-old handed the top seed a set to nothing in a title final. That is not a player who got hot. That is a player who solved something in the middle of the match, which is exactly why the number sitting next to her name this week is worth understanding properly. Day 1000 events usually feature 16 or 32 seeds. The term comes from tennis, where tournament directors use to plant the best players' names across the bracket like seed in the garden. 16 or 32. She is 17, which means she is seated, she is protected, she has her bye, and she is also the very first name on the wrong side of the top 16. A seat number is a queue ticket. It tells you precisely where you are standing. It tells you nothing whatsoever about what is waiting for you at the counter. So that is the ledger. Now let me make the argument everybody else is going to make this week, and let me make it as well as it can possibly be made. B. Deserves that before I take it apart. The argument is that the crowd is fuel. That in Toronto, the support did not behave like spectators behave. Flags going up in the stands, voices rising after the points that mattered. And critically, according to the people who were in the building, the noise got louder when the match got harder, not quieter. I just thought about what a huge day it is for the Philippines. She's an inspirational person. Everywhere you see her play, she's got a crazy amount of fans, and she means so much. A crazy amount of fans everywhere she plays. Not at home, everywhere. And it is not a tennis audience, which is the part that makes this genuinely strange. Grandmothers watching tennis every night. Nationality first, sport a distant second. So that is the easy argument. The crowd lifts her, the noise carries her. She plays her best tennis when the building is on her side. It is true, it is the argument every commentator will make this week, and it is shallow. If that were all I had for you, I would not have made this video. Because here is what nobody says about a crowd like that. A crowd cannot return a serve. Cover a line. The scoreboard remains completely uninterested in how many flags are in the stadium. What a crowd like that actually does is convert a tennis match into a referendum. Win in a community wins with you. Lose and you have not lost a tennis match. You have disappointed millions of people who stayed awake to watch you. And I want you to understand the scale of it because this is not fandom. Close down every Jollibee and seafood city if Alex Eala were to ever win her first professional major Grand Slam single because I've not seen this much love and support for a Filipina athlete for a very long time. Close down every Jollibee. Read that again. That is not a prediction about tennis. That is a man describing a national holiday that does not exist yet, contingent on a result she has not produced at a tournament she has not entered. That is the weight, and she never applied for it. Now let me handle the objection because I can hear it forming. You are thinking that elite athletes love pressure, that this is exactly what they train for, that a full stadium is a privilege rather than agree with all of it. It is. Still not the same thing as carrying an entire country into a second-round match on an ankle that was tweaked in the middle of a third-round night days earlier. So do not take my word for what that costs. Take hers. I think this match was really challenging for me. I think the whole 2 weeks I guess have been very challenging, and each match that I've played has presented its unique set of challenges. I'm feeling the effects of, just everything, and I think I'm really doing my best. Like I said on court, to stay professional and stick to what I know. But everything, of course, like this past 2 weeks I've been feeling emotions so extremely because of the circumstances, which is a great thing. Feeling the effects of everything, emotions so extremely, and then at the very end 4 words, which is a great thing. Hold that clause in your head, because I think it is the most honest sentence anybody has produced about this entire run. She is not complaining. She is describing the load and the gratitude in the same breath, which is precisely what a person does when the thing helping them is also the thing costing them. So here is what I want from you. Is a traveling home crowd in a neutral city worth more than it takes? I have argued myself into both answers this week, and I still do not know which one I actually believe. Tell me below and tell me why, because I am stuck. Is the theory. Now let me show you the evidence that says it is not merely a theory, and the reason I think she survives it anyway. Evidence 1, and I am going to let the consensus state its own case first. I think a lot of people talk about Eala, and something that does hold her back is her serve. But actually, if you look at the stats in the final, she won 84% sold out, and do not skip the second half of that sentence. Not something that happens very often. So go back to where we started. A food stall built for one player at the last minute. A session sold out before she walked in. Neither of those is atmosphere. Both of those are commerce. Atmosphere is what happens inside the building once the tennis starts. Commerce is what happens beforehand when an organization with real money at risk looks at one name and calculates how many bodies it moves. The eruption you are going to see this week was priced before she arrived. Now the honest case against everything I have just told you. I am not going to hand you numbers on Lynette or Ruse that I have not verified myself, and you should be suspicious of anybody who does this week. What I will tell you is that whichever of them survives that match arrives in the second round already warm, already adjusted to the court, already holding the answers Alex has to find live. Alex arrives cold. She arrives 2017 first name outside the protected group. She arrives with a body that played a 2.5-hour third round on a compromised ankle inside the last fortnight, and with a tournament that is advertised her before she has hit a ball the ankle has not been publicly cleared. Every single one of those facts sits on the other side of the net. I am not going to pretend otherwise, so let me be precise about what I am claiming, because I am not claiming she wins this tournament. The consensus got something genuinely right. The crowd is extraordinary, it is real, and it changes what a building feels like. That stays true. My argument is only that the direction of the effect is backwards, that it is a load long before it is a lift, and that 84 is the reason the load is survivable at all. It did not flip this. It narrowed it. And the reason any of it matters runs well past a second-round match in Ohio. Decades. That is the actual stake here, and it is not a scoreline. It is whether a country with no tennis pipeline whatsoever can manufacture a permanent audience out of the way a whole generation that was built around one boxer, the way the sports audience across Asia grew around Kei Nishikori and Li Na before her. So here is my prediction on record, and you can hold me to it. I think she comes through the second round, but I am not asking you to watch the scoreboard for the answer. Watch her first service game after the first break point she faces. If that first serve lands, she wins the match, whatever the score reads at that moment. If it does not, you will watch the noise turn into weight in real time, and you will not me to point it out. I will audit that in the next video when the draw for New York comes out. So tell me, when those flags go up and the stadium erupts before she has played a single point, is that stadium giving her something, or is it asking her for it?